Amelie was in an extremely unhappy relationship, suffocated by years of bitterness and sadness. She was almost giving up on happiness, thinking she would never feel joy or freedom again. However, everything changed unexpectedly when she met Theo, her new bodyguard. He seemed to be just another discreet presence in her life, but over time, Theo became the ray of hope she so desperately needed. With Theo by her side, Amelie felt a new spark of optimism ignite in her heart, and she began to believe that she could still fight for a fuller, more satisfying life, and perhaps find the happiness that always seemed out of reach. The possessive love story was reaching its final chapter. The tension in the air was almost palpable, and Amelie found herself increasingly confused, unable to understand what was really happening around her. She looked at Theo but now questioned who he truly was. He quickly approached her, concern etched on his face, and gently touched her arms as if trying to convey security. Amelie, try to stay calm. I don't have much time to explain everything now, but trust me. And above all, stay safe, he said, with an urgency she had never noticed before. Suddenly, a man entered the room, wearing a vest similar to Theo's. Was it a secret mission? Amelie's heart raced. Theo didn't hesitate and ordered the other man, protect her and take her away from here. Amelie, with eyes full of fear, pleaded, please don't get hurt. I don't want you to suffer. Theo quickly responded, I'll be fine. Now go with him and hurry. Moments before leaving, Amelie revealed something crucial. Henry, her husband, had removed extremely important documents from the mansion's safe. He was visibly nervous, making the situation even more serious. I'll wait for you, but please come back safely, were her last words before being taken away. However, Amelie had no idea that Theo, the man who had earned her trust, was actually Philippe, an undercover secret agent. He was investigating a dangerous human trafficking network, and Henry, the man she had married, was deeply involved. Henry had embezzled large sums of money from very dangerous people, putting him under constant threat. As the other agent took Amelie out of the mansion, chaos erupted like a violent storm. Gunshots echoed through the walls. From all sides, Henry's guards fought back against the agents, and the battle became fierce and chaotic. However, Theo, rather Philippe, was more than prepared to handle this kind of situation. With precise and cold movements, he entered the heart of the mansion, focused on his objective. Philippe neutralized Henry with precision and calmness, ending the immediate threat. After that, he helped apprehend the remaining guards who still resisted. Henry was taken to the hospital, gravely injured, and then faced a fair trial, finally being imprisoned for his crimes. While Henry was being treated and later judged, Amelie underwent a detailed interrogation, where she revealed everything she knew about her husband's illegal activities. She also provided the code to the safe, a detail that proved crucial, as it contained irrefutable evidence incriminating Henry. With this evidence in hand, the authorities were able to convict him definitively. Finally, after years of living a life of fear and manipulation, Amelie was freed from the emotional captivity she had been trapped in for 4 long, painful years. After all the confusion and overwhelming tension, Amelie felt an indescribable sense of relief, almost magical. It was as if a giant burden had been lifted from her shoulders, and suddenly, the dream of freedom she had always imagined, but never thought possible, was becoming a reality. She was finally free. This freedom, this new life, was the direct result of Theo's, or rather Philippe's, courage and bravery. With her heart still racing, a sense of joy began to overflow, filling every corner of her being. She could hardly wait to learn more about the man who had changed her life so deeply and irreversibly. However, one question remained in her mind. Where was Theo? In the agency's corridors, Amelie walked with a mixture of nervousness and anticipation. The emotions inside her clashed, creating a whirlwind difficult to control. Each step brought her closer to a moment she knew would be important. As she turned a corner, her eyes met Theo's, and for an instant time seemed to stop. That brief exchange of glances was intense, almost unreal, as if taken from a movie scene. Even without touching, the connection between them was powerful, creating a palpable tension in the air that made Amelie's heart beat even faster. It seemed as if time and space didn't matter. There was something deeper between them. "So you're not Theo, right?" asked Amelie with a shy and nervous smile, looking at him inquisitively. Theo, or more accurately Philippe, gave a relieved smile, a smile that seemed to carry the weight of countless secrets finally unveiled. "Actually, my name is Philippe," he confessed, with sincerity and sweetness in his voice. They shook hands firmly, a simple gesture but filled with hidden meanings. It was as if they were meeting for the first time, even though they had already shared intense and transformative moments. That handshake symbolized the beginning of something much deeper, a silent promise that something significant was to come. In that cold agency corridor, a true love story was beginning to unfold, a story built on foundations of courage, truth, and above all, freedom. Philippe, concerned about Amelie's well-being, suggested she go to the hotel, where she could rest and recover from the whirlwind of emotions and events she had experienced over the past few days. However, Amelie preferred to go to her parents' house. She needed the comfort of family, wanted to tell them everything she had endured, all the suffering and pain she had hidden for so long, especially the torment she faced alongside her ex-husband. She longed to reconnect with her roots and feel embraced by those who loved her unconditionally. When Amelie arrived at her parents' house, she was greeted with open arms. She hugged them tightly and told them everything, every painful and shocking detail of her life with Henry. Her parents were deeply surprised, as they believed Amelie had been happy in her marriage. Hearing her story, tears began to roll down their cheeks, but they were tears of relief and joy because finally, she was back in the place where she had always felt safe. Now she could start dreaming of a new life, free from the chains that had bound her. In the garden of her childhood, where she cared for the birds she loved so much, Amelie began to feel reborn, like one of those birds finally freed from its cage. After a few days reorganizing her life and reconnecting with family ties, Amelie began to feel that a new normalcy was taking shape. She started smiling again, feeling peace. However, destiny still had surprises in store for her. One day she received a special invitation from Philippe, the man who had changed everything. He invited her to spend an entire day by his side, in the park, a place he had carefully chosen to be the setting for unforgettable moments. When they arrived, the park was vibrant, full of colors and sounds. The sun shone brightly, while a gentle, refreshing breeze softly swayed the leaves of the trees, as if the world around them was in harmony with the happiness Amelie was beginning to rediscover. Philippe led her to a charming corner of the park, where he had prepared a special picnic, full of care and attention to detail. They sat on a colorful blanket, surrounded by a generous basket filled with fresh, delicious fruits, tasty sandwiches, and small homemade cakes that made the moment even sweeter. Between laughter, bites, and glances, they talked about dreams they had yet to fulfill, hopes for the future, and secret desires. The laughter came naturally, and Philippe made Amelie feel as if she were living in a true fairy tale, where every detail seemed to come from a fantasy. While exploring the park's attractions, playing like children on the swings and the Ferris wheel, Philippe couldn't take his eyes off Amelie. He watched her with admiration, not only for her physical beauty but for the inner strength, the courage and resilience she demonstrated at every moment. With each kiss they exchanged, Amelie felt more protected, more loved, as if she were finally reclaiming the piece of happiness she believed she had lost forever. Philippe's gaze reflected the deep admiration he had for her, and Amelie felt increasingly connected to him. Philippe wanted Amelie to understand that life, now that she was free, could be absolutely wonderful. At the end of the day, as the sun was setting and the park began to empty, they sat together on a bench, embraced, watching the sky change colors. Philippe, with a soft voice, promised Amélie that from that moment on, he would do everything in his power to ensure that she experienced all the joy that life still had to offer. Looking into his eyes, Amélie knew with unwavering certainty that she was beginning a new chapter in her life, a chapter full of hope, love, and promises for a radiant future. If you're enjoying this story so far, make sure you're subscribed to our channel because the next ones will be even more exciting, and you can't miss them. So let's continue. A few months later, Amélie was about to take an extremely significant step in her life, a milestone she had dreamed of for a long time. Her fingers trembled slightly and her hands were cold, a combination of stress and anxiety that accompanied her during important moments. She held the key to her new psychology practice, the concrete symbol of a dream that was finally coming true. It was more than just a physical space. It was the materialization of her personal journey of overcoming and resilience. With her heart racing, she approached the door, took a deep breath, feeling the air fill her lungs as if it were new energy, and turned the key, ready to open the door to a new phase in her life. When the door opened, Amélie was greeted by an empty space, but one filled with promises and possibilities. The soft light coming through the large, airy windows bathed the room in an almost heavenly way, illuminating the freshly painted walls with tones of hope. The room, carefully prepared, was already equipped to welcome her future clients, with comfortable armchairs arranged invitingly and shelves full of inspiring books on psychology, personal development, and overcoming adversity. Feeling a mix of joy, relief, and pride, Amélie entered the office and allowed herself to be overwhelmed by a profound sense of accomplishment. Every detail of that space reflected her determination and the arduous path she had taken to get there. Finally, Amélie was on the verge of starting a new phase of her life, a phase where she could directly impact the lives of others. She had decided that her office would be more than just a place for therapy. It would be a safe haven, a special space for women who, like her, had faced abusive and difficult relationships. Women who had lost confidence in themselves and in life, but who still had within them a flame of hope waiting to be rekindled. Amélie wanted every client who entered there to feel understood, supported, and above all, welcomed with love and respect. With meticulous dedication and great care, Amélie prepared the clinic to be a place of true healing and transformation. She carefully chose every detail of the decor, hanging inspiring photos on the walls that told stories of overcoming and strength. She created a cozy atmosphere, with soft colors and elements that transmitted calm, reflecting her deep desire to help transform the lives of the people who came to her. On the opening day, Amélie was filled with conflicting emotions. When she opened the doors to her first client, a nervous smile, but one full of sincerity and hope, lit up her face. She knew that moment marked the beginning of something extraordinary. To her surprise and immense happiness, in no time, the office's schedule was completely filled. Women began seeking her help with a speed that Amélie hadn't expected. Each new client represented an opportunity for Amélie to share her own life experience, to use her wounds and scars to offer support, guidance, and restore confidence to these women. Seeing those women begin to rebuild themselves, regain their self-esteem, and believe in themselves again was an invaluable gift for Amélie, something she could never have anticipated in all its depth. She knew with every fiber of her being that she was embarking on a meaningful and transformative journey, not only for her clients but also for herself. Amélie was fully aware that she was on the right path to help other women find the inner strength and happiness that she herself had rediscovered after so much suffering. As she dedicated herself intensely to her patients, her boyfriend, Philippe, who had once been her bodyguard, was involved in a new mission. Although he didn't like being away from Amélie, they both understood that they had important responsibilities to fulfill. Despite the physical distance, they spoke daily on the phone, often for hours, staying connected on a deep and emotional level. Philippe, always patient and loving, understood the time and space Amélie still needed. The strong emotional connection between them was undeniable, but they respected the pace of the relationship. When they hugged and kissed, there was a palpable intensity, but they had not yet advanced to a more physical relationship. Amelie wanted to move at her own pace without rushing, as her last experience with an ex-boyfriend had been marked by disappointment and pain. She wanted things to be different this time, more authentic and built on solid foundations of mutual trust. That night, the sky was filled with twinkling stars, softly illuminating the city, giving it a magical and serene aura. Philippe was driving home, feeling the cool breeze enter through the car's slightly open window. He had just completed another challenging and exhausting mission, but his mind was elsewhere, focused on only one person, Amelie. The longing he felt for her was almost palpable, a mix of anxiety and desire that made his heart race with every kilometer that brought him closer to home. He knew that tonight would be special, and he was determined to make everything perfect. Upon arriving home, Philippe wasted no time. He took off his heavy coat and, without even bothering to change clothes, headed straight for the kitchen. His mind was focused on preparing something that would show Amelie how much she meant to him, how much he valued and appreciated every moment by her side. With care and attention, he selected the ingredients, remembering the conversations they had about Amelie's favorite dishes. He lit candles on the table, creating a cozy and romantic atmosphere, and opened a bottle of red wine, letting the liquid breathe just the way she liked it. A small attention to detail that he knew she would appreciate. As he stirred the pot, his thoughts wandered to the moments they had shared, from the first shy smiles to the deeper conversations that revealed so much about who they really were. He remembered the comfortable silences that often said more than words. Philippe was anxious to see her, to feel her soft touch, and to hear her calm voice, which always managed to soothe him, even on the most difficult days. When the doorbell finally rang, his heart sped up. Philippe went to the door with an anticipatory smile, and when he opened it, he found Amelie more radiant than he could have ever imagined. Amelie was stunning. Her eyes sparkled with a special light, and her smile, the same smile that always disarmed him, lit up the entire room. The soft perfume she wore seemed to blend into the air, enveloping Philippe in a sense of enchantment. They embraced intensely and affectionately, and at that moment, the world around them simply ceased to exist. Amelie nestled into Philippe's arms, and he felt a wave of emotions wash over him, something that could only be described as pure happiness. Time, which had previously seemed to rush uncontrollably, now seemed to have completely stopped, and the weight of the weeks they had spent apart disappeared instantly. He knew without a doubt that he would do anything to protect that smile, to keep her safe always. This was more than a promise. It was his personal mission, a responsibility he embraced with his whole being. Inside the house, the delicious aroma of dinner was already filling the air, creating an atmosphere of coziness and intimacy. They sat down at the table, laughing and talking as if the outside world didn't exist, as if tomorrow was just a distant idea. Each dish Philippe served was accompanied by a loving gesture, a deep look that communicated more than any words could express. They toasted with wine, feeling the comforting warmth of the drink relax their bodies, and as the hours passed, the intimacy between them only grew. When Philippe's hands began to gently slide over Amelie's body, that touch carried much more than simple affection. It was a silent language, a way of expressing everything he felt for her without needing words. Amelie surrendered to the moment, guided by the tenderness and passion he demonstrated in every gesture, in every touch. For her, it wasn't just a physical interaction but a true celebration of the deep and genuine love that was blossoming between them, a love that grew every day and promised to transform their lives forever. Philippe made Amelie feel truly unique, special in a way she had never experienced before. He looked at her as if every detail of her personality, every gesture, and every word was worthy of being admired and revered. It was as if, in his eyes, every part of her being was adored and valued, from her strongest moments to her vulnerabilities. That particular night, something inside them changed deeply. The bond that was already strong between them solidified in a way they both knew was unbreakable, as if they had found a new dimension in their relationship. Amelie felt, for the first time in her life, that she was being loved in a genuine and unconditional way, without judgment or reservation. There was no longer any rush or fear of losing each other. There was only the genuine desire to be together, to explore every nuance of the love they shared. They knew, even without needing to verbalize it, that from that night on, their lives would be forever intertwined in a way that nothing and no one could separate. Philippe and Amelie were not just a passionate couple. They were connected in a depth that transcended the physical, something much more intimate and spiritual. The love they felt for each other was intense, powerful, and above all true. There were no barriers between them, no restrictions. It was a love that floated freely, without expectations or impositions. Philippe, also known as Theo to Amelie, made an important decision. He decided to take a leave from his job to spend more time with her, diving into what they felt and creating unforgettable memories. Philippe wanted to take her on some adventures, to show her what it meant to feel truly free, without any ties. He knew that for Amelie, who had been trapped in a toxic relationship for so long, the idea of freedom was still something new and unfamiliar. He wanted her to experience that feeling in the fullest way possible. To do this, he prepared several surprises, the first of which was a skydive, bungee jump. Imagine the thrill of being up high, the strong wind hitting their faces while the blue sky stretched out above them like a vast ocean of freedom. Philippe, with his heart full of joy and excitement, shouted to Amelie as they fell through the air, "This is freedom, my love. I promise you'll never feel trapped again." Amelie couldn't contain her excitement. She screamed with happiness, feeling completely alive and empowered. It was a sensation of euphoria she had never experienced before. What an unforgettable moment. What an incredible adventure. But that was just the beginning of what Philippe had planned for them. After this adventure in the sky, Philippe, always playful and good-humored, made a joke. "In a real escape, you'll have to be my driver while I take care of the bad guys," he said, making Amelie laugh. Besides all the deep love he felt for her, Philippe could always make her smile. He had a light and fun personality, and Amelie loved learning new things by his side. She felt safe, but also challenged to grow and experience new emotions, something she had lost during her years of pain and suffering. Philippe's third surprise was even more practical and revealing. He decided to teach Amelie how to defend herself. With a serious but loving tone, he explained, "I won't always be around, although I wish I could be at every moment, so you need to know how to protect yourself." He showed her the basic self-defense moves, movements that could ensure she felt strong and capable of handling any situation. With patience, he promised that over time, she would learn everything he knew about combat and personal protection. The next adventure they shared happened in the water, because Amelie didn't know how to swim. They spent a wonderful day together in a paradisiacal place, where Philippe taught her to feel safe and confident in the water. He was patient, attentive, and helped her learn to swim firmly and securely. Philippe wanted to prepare her for any eventuality. For him, each day with Amelie was an opportunity to make her more independent and strong. What an incredible and unforgettable day. Finally, Philippe had saved a very special surprise, something that meant a lot to him on a personal level. He wanted Amelie to meet someone extremely important in his life, the person who had shaped and made him the extraordinary man he was today. This person was none other than his mother, the woman for whom he would also give his life. They had always been just the two of them, mother and son, and she had played the role of both parents throughout his life. Since he was little, she had taught him to be a true man, someone who knew how to respect and care for a woman with dignity and love. Now, Philippe's mother lived a full and fantastic life. She did what she wanted, traveled the world, and to Amelie's surprise, was even dating again. Meeting Philippe's mother deeply moved Amelie. Everything made even more sense to her now. She now understood where Philippe's strength and kindness came from. With great affection, Philippe's mother welcomed them into her home. They spent a memorable afternoon together, full of laughter, stories, and moments of affection. Amélie immediately felt connected to her, as if they were old friends. During one of their many conversations, Philippe's mother said with a sincere smile, "You're the first woman my son has brought here, you know? That tells me a lot about you, my dear. Come whenever you want, you'll always be welcome in our home." The words touched Amélie deeply, and she knew they were true. Philippe was truly in love with her, and that feeling was evident to everyone around them. That passion, which initially seemed like an intense fire, was now transforming into something much more enduring and strong. A solid and deep love. Philippe knew in his heart that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with Amélie, but together they decided not to rush. Although they had the desire to marry one day, they chose to enjoy the present without hurry, without the pressure of dates or social expectations. When the right time came, they would have the wedding they both dreamed of, but for now all they needed was each other's presence and love. Philippe showed Amélie that when a man truly loves a woman, he doesn't hold her back, he sets her free. And the same was true for her. She didn't hold him back either. Love for them was being light, being a companion on the journey, supporting each other, and caring for each other unconditionally. And that's exactly how they lived their love. In harmony, in peace, with genuine happiness. Being themselves around each other was like freeing themselves from all the burdens and expectations of the world. There was no need for pretenses or masks. Philippe and Amélie were a perfect example of how to support each other with tranquility, hope, and great trust. Philippe gave Amélie all the time she needed, respecting her processes, her discoveries, and her pace. He knew that, in the end, she would choose him fully and consciously, and that they would be together forever. One day, in a moment of pure emotion, Amélie looked at Philippe with her heart overflowing with love and said, "I want you forever, Philippe. Thank you for setting me free and showing me what true love is." With those words, she kissed him tenderly and sincerely, sealing the love that bound them. This is the true power of love. It has the ability to save a life, to heal a broken heart, and to restore confidence and hope. Don't let suffering dominate your life, even in the hardest moments. We need love, care, and tenderness in our lives always. I hope you enjoyed this fascinating story, so subscribe to our channel and take the opportunity to watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you next time.